Hey, I'm Kelli-Leigh. Welcome to You Know My Voice, a series I started on my IGTV in lockdown, talking about the vocals I'd sang on some big dance records, some of which I think are your favourites. And I decided to extend that into a podcast series, talking to some of your favourite vocalists, songwriters, artists and singers on some massive records. Today, I'm recording live in the Red Bull podcast studio, and I have the amazing singer-songwriter and artist, Salena Mastroianni.
Hey.
Hey, thanks for joining me today.
You're so welcome. It's so nice to see you.
It's so nice to see you. Welcome. Looking forward to this.
I know, and it's such an honour to have me on here. So thank you so much.
Love it.
It honestly is my honour.
Let's give people a little bit of backstory, a little bit of background. You are a singer. When did this start? Give us some bio history.
Oh, blimey. This started as far as I can actually remember. But I was at school and I was always in the choir, singing at church, and I was always the lead vocalist. And me and my best friend at the time, who's still a best friend of mine now, we would always compete to be the solo singers of the of the choir. And we would win each year, and we'd be like, it was kind of like a competition thing. But it kind of stemmed from there, because I remember thinking when I was at the front singing the solo songs, I just absolutely loved it. And I loved seeing my parents in the audience and all the parents and stuff. So from there, it went on to, just singing throughout my whole school years. And then I learned to play the piano by myself.
Amazing.
My mum and dad bought me a little piano, and I had lessons, but I got really frustrated in them. And I didn't actually finish them, but I just started to self-teach myself.
What made you frustrated?
I couldn't read music very well.
Okay.
And I think that was my main problem. I'm a very impatient person at times, as you know. So you can imagine my little strops that I would have at the piano.
Yeah.
My mum
can't read it.
Can't do it. So after that, my mum kind of gave up with that. And then I went to, fast forward, I went to university and I actually studied fashion.
Amazing.
I left I was too, I was not confident enough to pursue my music dream. Even though I always knew I wanted to sing, I didn't know how, and I didn't have anyone in the industry that could help me, really. Although my dad did work for Island Records.
I did not know this.
Yeah, he did.
When did he work for Island?
He did the pension fund. So he knew all of the old school sort of managers that could help me, but I wasn't ready at the time. I was so clueless, and they couldn't really do anything. So I went to uni, did fashion, thought I wanted to be a fashion designer.
You made swimwear, didn't you?
I made swimwear.
Yeah.
I got sponsored by Philip Green's wife, Tina Green. Shout out Tina Green. Thank you for helping me on that, because that was really a big, big dream of mine. And I went down Graduate Fashion Week. And then I remember saying at uni, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a singer. And they were like, sorry? You've just done 4 years fashion, you're going to, and I was like, yeah, that's my dream. And I literally overnight just turned, and I got into this girl band, which just didn't work out at all. And I thought I was going to be this amazing, all singing, all dancing girl band. We did one take in the studio, and they were like, yeah, it's not going to work.
Oh God! So the harmony's not harmonying.
They just weren't harmonying, and it just wasn't great.
Was it finger in ear?
Yeah, it wasn't sounding great. Let's put it that way. So after that, we
love a self-realised queen.
Yeah, you got to be honest with yourself. Yeah. It wasn't great. So I went home. I was living back with my parents, and obviously from living on my own 4 years at uni, going back to living with my parents. Love them, but my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I needed my own space, but I obviously was stuck at square one, didn't know what to do. Did a fashion sort of work experience thing. Sat at a desk, 4 walls, no windows, and I thought to myself, this is not for me. No disrespect to anyone who does sit at a job with 4 walls and few windows. My husband does it, but for me, I needed to be out, pursuing my dream, which was singing, and I always knew that. So after that, I wrote a really sob story letter to a college that I went to in Kilburn. And this guy who's a good friend of mine now picked it up and showed me around the college. And then I did another degree in music.
Amazing.
From there, I met you.
Yes.
You got me an audition for Rita Ora.
Yes.
To do her backing vocals.
But we met in the studio. So it was a very like chance meeting.
Yes, it was.
Because I was in the studio producing an EP.
Yeah.
And you were working on some stuff.
Yeah.
And then I remember, what did we meet in like the cafe of the studio or something?
We met through a producer that we knew.
Yeah.
And
but it was in this cafe. Was that the first day I met you? I think it was.
I honestly can't actually remember. But I know that we became very close very quickly.
But yeah, because I needed somewhere to live and it was a bit freaky. You know how sometimes the universe just does this stuff?
Yeah.
And basically I needed somewhere to live suddenly, and then your housemate just suddenly was moving out, and she's not from here, so she was going back to, was it Sweden or something?
It was Sweden, yeah.
And she was going back to Sweden, and you were like, we just started talking, and I was like, I'm just looking for somewhere to live, and you were like, my housemate's moving out, you can move into mine. And I was like, okay then.
Yeah, and we had the best time.
We had the best time,
and that's when obviously we got very, very close, and like we're like sisters now. But you got me I think it was a life-changing job. You know, I was working in a band for like 10 years doing corporate events and wedding singing, and got into an agency and stuff, which did really hone in on my craft there, live singing. It was very important that I did that. But then I got the job for Rita Ora, and I was as green as anything, as you know, and you had to really help me with, because you've obviously had really good experience in that field, and you really had to help me with that. And I remember I couldn't believe I got that audition. I could not believe it. And there was quite a lot of people in there. So from there on, I met a few producers along the way, started writing my own stuff, went back to the piano, and I just did that. And then I met my manager in 2017, who really brought me up to where I am today. And that's the sort of backstory. Very quickly through.
The quick journey.
The quick rundown. But that was the...
And you smashed those Rita shows. You did massive shows, didn't you?
Yeah,
like massive festivals.
Yeah, when we toured like roughly the world, really. We went as far as Jakarta and China, and we did lots of amazing shows. We did I did the VMAs with Kesha after that. So I got other jobs from her.
Yes.
From doing this sort of scene. I got into Robbie Williams, I got Kesha. Lots of really amazing things happened from that. And I really learned a lot on the way, which actually helped me with my own stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let's interject here, talking about your upbringing and, like wanting to be a singer. Who is your biggest vocal inspiration?
Well, I couldn't find my T-shirt today, but it's Christina Aguilera.
You're going to come to the studio in a Christina Stan T-shirt.
Yeah. Christina Aguilera in her strip days was honestly I would say she actually saved me through a very dark time in my life, through a really bad breakup with an ex-boyfriend. That Stripped album really got me through. So much so that if I know like every ad-lib, every single word in that album, and if I would sing an ad-lib wrong, I would rewind it and go back to the beginning and make sure I sung it right. I was obsessed, absolutely obsessed.
Your Halloween Christina strips is top tier.
Yeah.
This girl, she slayed. Slayed the game.
I had to go in. Like, I couldn't just do a Christina Aguilera costume with just like a weird old wig and find bits. I had to actually hire.
Did you actually hire the whole kit?
Oh, I hired the whole kit.
How much did that set you back roughly?
150 quid or something.
Oh my God, I love it.
Oh, it's so worth it.
But
I felt like her for the night. I felt like such a diva. And honestly, I can't even. I dragged you to her. Do you remember when our friend Katie was performing?
We went up to Birmingham. You didn't drag me. I was looking forward to it.
No, but I was like, you're coming. Because the only place we could go was Birmingham.
We can only go Birmingham.
And I said, by the way, you're coming. I was like,
we're going.
She was like, that'd be great. I was like, thank God.
Yeah, and shout out to Katie Holmes-Smith.
Katie Holmes-Smith.
Bestie.
You smashed it.
And that was a sick show. It was quite sweet. You got quite emotional.
I collected the confetti on the floor.
You did.
I saved it.
She's a real fan.
And I framed the ticket.
Did you actually frame the ticket? I love it.
And I cried on the... I was gutted she didn't sing one of my all-time favourite songs of my whole life, which I know you'll ask me, but she didn't sing it at the end, which I know they rehearsed for. They didn't sing it. So I was a bit gutted about that. But it was everything I wanted and more.
So what is your favourite Christina of all time?
Singing My Song. It's the one right at the end of her Stripped album.
Love that.
It's the last one. And it brought so much confidence to me and just like belief, because I know she went through quite a hard time in her career with people not believing in her and her sound. And, she went from a real different stage in her life where she started Genie in a Bottle and then she went to Stripped. You know, it's a big change.
Yeah.
But she believed in herself, and it really gave me the confidence to, you know, even if you're not at that place now with yourself, you can do it.
Yeah.
And it kind of resonated with me, and I've really held that belief. As you know, like, I'm quite a positive person.
Yeah.
You can do things, even if people say you can't. I just feel like no one has the right to tell you can't.
Yes.
It's just opinion.
Yes.
If you know you can, you can.
Absolutely.
So.
And we know a lot about that in this business.
Oh, we do.
So let's talk about you now as an artist, a feature, and writing your own music. You've got a current release out at the moment. Tell us a bit about that.
So this song is called Fever, and it's with the amazing Capera Music, written it with him and Sarah De Warren, which is one of my favourite girls. She's amazing. Shout out Sarah De Warren. And also with Stadium X and Morgan Page on Mentalo Music label, which is Robin Shaw's label.
Ooh, love.
So yeah, very, very lucky. Well, I say lucky, but very, very happy to be on that, and very grateful too. It came about, honestly, we were in a studio writing together, and we were just talking about like just life in general. I think it was like sex, drugs and fitness. We called our WhatsApp group for that day.
I love that.
And it just became this, we just started writing, and I had the song Fever in my head. Mm-hmm. You know, you give me fever.
Yes, love it.
And I just sung it like, I sung the word fever, thinking like, oh, they're not going to use that. And Oliver at the Times goes, oh my God, I love the sort of feeling of fever, and having that as kind of like the
concept.
The concept of the song.
Yes.
And I said, oh, really? Thinking like, oh God, I don't know if that's going to work. But yeah, okay, fine. And then we literally wrote it in about 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Because once you find the concept, as you know, it becomes so much easier to write.
Yeah.
And Sarah is really quick. Like, we get documents together and we just hone off each other, writing. And she was writing words down that I really liked, and we were just bouncing off each other really quickly. And then this song came about, and she was like, right, I'm just going to jot down the second verse and then I've got to go. I was like, okay, great. Okay. So I was recording this, the first verse and the chorus. Okay. She was like, right, I've just done the second verse. I've really got to go because I'm late. And I was like, amazing. Thank you so much.
Was that the first time you worked together?
No, it was like second or third. So we
got the chemistry already.
We'd had the chemistry already, and we really like each other. So,
because that's quite important when you're songwriting. Because I love that initial stage, especially sometimes when you do a writing camp of like getting to know each other and stuff. But it's a weird job that we have, because you really need to very quickly connect with someone, relate, and then you kind of put yourself out there and on the line to be like, you know, this is my idea. What do you think?
Exactly.
And, you know, them going like, yeah, I love it, or it sounds like a pre.
Yeah, and it kind of depends on also the person as a character.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, you can not like something but be nice about it.
Yeah.
And then you can get some people who are just a bit sort of, you know,
bit vibey.
Bit vibey, don't really know how to chat to someone in sort of the right way to sort of let them down gently, and it can really knock someone's confidence.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're all here to do one thing, you know, which is make music, have fun, and be successful.
Yes.
And I just feel that there's not enough out there at the moment that's like supporting of everyone, even if that person does better than you, you know. Like, I think it's really important to just support people and make sure that sorry, I went a bit on a divert there.
No, but it's true. It's a very important thing, because there's one thing that I've heard of quite a few times in my journey in this career is this person's not relevant anymore. This is not relevant.
Yeah.
And it's like, relevance changes.
Yeah.
I mean, someone will have the most numbers.
Relevant to who?
Yeah, relevant to who?
Yeah.
I love
and
that.
To what?
Relevant to who? Because, you know, one day you'll have the top tracks and you'll be the big talk of the town or whatever, and then suddenly you haven't written a hit or whatever, and someone else has, and that person becomes like, they're the relevant one or whatever. And I just kind of find that really distasteful, because, you know, music is like, we do go into sessions and we have to switch on the creative tap.
Yeah, exactly. And do something that's out of your comfort zone for someone else.
Exactly.
You know?
And then like make it hopefully become something which is a massive record. But you'll have days where you'll write something which isn't massive, which might be an album track, like your favourite record from Christina is an album track at the end of the album, which wasn't a single.
And it'll mean something to you.
Exactly.
Like personally, you know, and you've got to kind of, but that's where I think that whole belief in yourself and believe what you're doing is right. And sometimes just putting music out that you absolutely love is more important than doing it to stay relevant.
Yes, absolutely.
For whoever it is that you need to stay relevant for.
Yeah, because it does feel like, you know, there's a lot of industry input of what is cool, what is not. And, you know, there's a lot of pressure as artists and writers that we often feel to try and write the new, this thing's popping off. We need something like that.
Yeah.
We need something like that now. And you're like, okay. And then whilst you're chasing that thing, it's like, oh, that sounds a bit too much like that. Or it doesn't sound enough like that. And then the person who's created something completely fresh suddenly blows up and everybody's like, oh, we need that.
Yeah. We need that now. It's
We
like,
need that.
can't keep up.
Yeah, exactly that.
How about you just write something you like, and it's like, you know, you could be the next sound.
Yeah.
That's what for me now. I'm developing my own sound, but I'm staying true to myself.
Yeah.
And whether that does well or not, really don't care.
Yes.
Like obviously I do care. I'd love it to do well, but to be honest, if I feel like I've been authentic to myself and I've released music that I absolutely love and is true to myself, that for me is more success than hitting a number one, honestly.
Love that.
It really is, because I know that I'll be happy regardless. And it's nothing worse than putting all that expectation on trying to get out there and like doing it for that purpose and not remembering what your sound is, you know, and what you really love and appreciated when you were sort of growing up and what inspired you.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
And then getting disappointed. I just think yes, there are disappointments on the way. I understand that. But I think definitely staying true to yourself is the most important thing that you can do when you're writing something for yourself.
Yes.
And remember who you're writing for when you're in a camp or when you're in a session for someone else.
Yeah.
You know, like I think a lot of people like to forget, well, not like to, but I think a lot of people do forget that sometimes.
Yes.
And they can derive off of that sort of stream and not remember who the artist is.
So when you wrote this song to it being released, how fast was this turnaround? Because some songs are in the works for years. Some
This was actually a year in the making.
Okay.
So it was pitched around a few times, and then Morgan Page picked it up. Thank you, Morgan Page.
Nice.
And Stadium X did their thing with Morgan Page. So it kind of was work in progress because the production changed, and it was kind of, then we had to discuss contracts and stuff like that. Luckily, it was quite breezy actually, whereas a lot of contracts can, as you know,
can be a little bit
touch and go.
Touch and go. This industry, let's talk about a bit of the ugly, because we know what that's like. So sometimes, right, when you've done the record and you want to release it, you need to do the legal side of things. So you need to do the contracting, which is agreeing the fee, the points, all this kind of stuff, depending if it's going to be on a major label or an indie label or all that kind of stuff. And, you know, you and I have talked about experiences that we've had where people haven't, I've had people release stuff without doing the contract.
I've had that.
It's like,
hello.
Sorry. And what part of your brain thought that was professional?
Legal.
That was legal. Exactly. And then you have to send the lawyer knocking. And then people that, even though you've written the record and sung the record, still don't want to credit you or feature you.
I mean, frustration doesn't even come close to how you feel with that. Seeing as we are aspiring artists.
Yes.
And some people don't want to be artists, aspiring songwriters or features, you know?
Yeah.
And
which is totally fine, and that's their choice.
Absolutely. But when you've written something and you want to be credited as an artist, as a feature singer, it's only sort of right, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, and I understand that artist is trying to get out as well, and they want to, you know, it's all about them kind of thing. But you got this song because half or a quarter of me.
Yes.
And in this case, I one song that I can sort of recollect is I wrote most of it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, very quickly, again, 15 minutes. Honestly, we did this. We took a while to write a song before. It was like a couple of hours, 2 hours. And then we had time. We had an hour left of the session.
Yeah.
We just messed around, and I literally came up with the top line I'm not even joking, like 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. I said, oh, this sounds like this. And I was doing like a chipmunk voice, just I kind of hear it like this. And they said, oh, I love that. And they put it down, and then they changed it a bit. And then it was a banger. Like it was great. And they released it on the label. And when it came down to the crunch, they were like, well, we're happy for you to be the feature, but we don't want you to be the primary artist, which literally makes no difference.
Wow.
No difference to the label.
Wow.
Because you have my name on it anyway as the feature, but you don't want to put it on my page so that I have to suffer with the numbers. You know, I won't get, my Spotify numbers won't climb. And this is another annoying thing about the industry. You've got Spotify with numbers, which determine how
your relevance
and how successful you are. And it's just really annoying because it doesn't determine that at all. And, you know, people don't know your background, like where I've come from, like my experience in the industry and stuff like that. Like, I know what I'm doing. So to have that happen was beyond frustrating.
So when you or your lawyer pushed back saying, no, look, we need to be on P line, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, this priority artist line on Spotify. What happened there? Yeah,
so mistakes get made along the way. And I think it's really important to be transparent as well, because we made a mistake on our side where my manager went back and said, do you know what? He was so frustrated and he didn't console with me before. But he said, you know, take her off the record then and find someone else, basically. Or you pay us a substantial fee. And they were like, okay, we'll get someone else.
They did what?
They said, get someone else. And I was...
The audacity of it.
The audacity. So I thought, do you know what? No, I'd rather this song doesn't go out. And, you know, it was all about, this song's so good, we reckon it's going to be a hit and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, do you know what? No, don't care. Don't care. And I said, I'll take responsibility for our side, because that was an error. And we spoke about it, and, you know, mistakes happen. I wasn't upset with my manager. I said, you know, we'll take it on the chin, and I'll just say, well, to be honest, I don't want this song going out without my name on it. I won't have it on my primary, but I want this. So I made other amendments with the master, and my lawyer was really good. So it got done in the end. But it still didn't make a difference if I was the primary to them or not.
It doesn't detract from their streams.
No.
So artists and, like, you know, some DJs and producers really do treat singers like second-class citizens. And this is another reason why I wanted to set this up, because, you know, unless you're writing an instrumental record, you're doing some like cool underground tech house, or, you know, the few massive instrumental dance records that have been big, like Eric Prydz or Watermat, or, you know, 10 Rooms, Walking with Elephants. Like, there's very few big dance records that don't have a vocal on it, which then makes, you know, the DJ or producer be able to connect with their audience and so on and so forth, and get the crowd to sing it back. So I don't understand this level of disrespect for singers.
There was no level of understanding.
No.
Honestly, it was, anyway, we got it done, but it put a big chip on my shoulder for that label. And I don't think I'd sign with them.
And how did it make you feel mentally?
Mentally pretty strong, actually, because at the time I knew my worth. Well, it was recent, so I knew my worth. And, you know, I think for someone beginning would have been a bit debilitating. But for me, I've got to a point now, Kels, where I'm just like, I really don't care. Like, I know what I'm worth. I know how good I am. I know how much I can bring to the table for people, and I'm a good person. You know, I'm not a horrible person.
No. What's the non-swear word here?
So I'm not
I don't know what your favourite swear word is. We can't repeat it right now.
We can't do that.
We can't do that.
Strict instructions not to say. So anyway, and I think, well, that comes back to how you feel as an individual, and how much you know, and not everyone's going to like you as well.
But you have to stand up for your business.
100%.
And I don't understand that disrespect, because it doesn't take away from the artist. I mean, like, the point is you should be able to be given the choice. Like, do you want to feature or not feature on this record? But to say, we love what you've written, we love what you've sung, we love what you've done, but we have no interest at all of respecting and putting your name on the record.
You don't. It's like, so you don't then.
So you don't.
So you obviously, you've got all my work. You obviously love it. You want to sign it. So it's good enough for that. But you don't want to have me. Well, I am that. I've created that. That is me. So what's the point?
I mean, you are a very strong person, and I really want to talk about this because you are a personal trainer as well. You've really got into your fitness. You've even been doing some training for me.
I mean, you look,
So I love banging today.
Doing so well.
My protein is up. But I really wanted to see, how has that helped or related to your music career? Because for what I've seen you train with, I mean, you did the bodybuilding bikini competition. So how strict you had to be with yourself in your training.
It's the mindset.
The mindset. How has that helped with this side of things?
It's helped me massively, actually. It comes to like, you can do it. You know, you go into a gym and you pick up the barbell and you think, oh, I can't lift this today. And there's something in the mind, but you can. And, you know, creating a physique that I needed to have for stage, you know, there was massive parts of me at the time was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to quit. And there was deep-rooted voice in the back saying, you can do it. The body is capable of doing a lot of things, and it's how much you wanted it, you know?
Yeah.
How much I wanted it. And it really made me think how actually quite driven I was and how strong I was.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to be a certain way, but it's your mind. If you want to go for something that's personal to you, then you have to remind yourself just how strong you are. And if you're not, you will fade into the background, you know? And if you want to be that person that doesn't fade into the background, then you've got to be strong and quite thick-skinned.
Yes.
And at the end of
especially in this business.
Yeah. And there's one thing that my dad taught me, which I'll always carry on with me for the rest of my life, which is not everyone's going to like you, but that does you a favour.
Ooh,
you can't,
I like that.
You can't have everyone liking you. How busy would your life be if everyone loved you? Like, you would have a lot of friends to see. I don't have time.
I've got too many friends.
I've got too many. Like, I do. I've got a lot of friends who are amazing. And, you know, I'm all right with someone who doesn't get me and doesn't like me. I'm like, that's cool. Like, no issue, no skin off my nose. Like, does me a favour. I'm so busy with friends anyway, and my social life. So
I mean, that's real character building. I found that for myself. You kind of like, the industry is a bit weird in that way that you kind of need people to like you and respect you to want to bring you into projects, but you also need to know,
force someone to like you.
Exactly, and you need to know what your self-worth is, and where your boundaries are.
And equally, you can't force yourself to like someone else.
Exactly,
you don't like someone else, it's just not going to work.
It's just not going to work, you know. Especially in the studio. Yeah, I remember having a writing session with one guy once. He was a big guy. He was very relevant because he'd had quite a few cuts. It was the word of the day for this podcast today. It's relevance. And he was just such bad vibes and energy because he felt he was above everybody.
Yeah.
And then the session kind of went on for a little bit, and it was like a cool writing camp that we were doing in association with a big DSP. Mm-hmm. And we were sort of taking a bit more time to get some bits right. And then some of the people were going to come up and listen. And he was like, I'm never not usually in here this long. Like, you know, and I was like, well, go then. Yeah. Like, if you don't want to be here and you're bringing the vibe down, leave. Yeah. And it was, you know, and then I think one of the other writers was worried about my reaction because he was looking up to how big this guy was. But I thought, this energy is not needed. And actually, I haven't heard of this writer on the scene for a while now. Yeah. And it's just, I feel like you should never have, doesn't matter how.
So technically, he's irrelevant.
He's now irrelevant. Oh, look how it swings. But yeah, I just feel like you never know. It's that saying, isn't it? Like the way you'll see people on the way up and you'll see them on the way down. I think it's just
100%. If you just remain loyal to yourself and a nice person, like they always say, be careful who you meet on the way up because you never know who you're going to meet on the way down. Yes. And that is a saying that you should keep for your whole life.
Yes.
Wherever you are, whatever you do, whatever career change or whatever career you're doing, social life, friends, just remember that.
So if there's anything you'd like to say for us to start wrapping up, to an aspiring singer and artist, what could you tell them? What's your one main bit of advice from lots of stuff we talked about today?
Don't be a horrible person.
I know your brain, so I heard the word that you said.
Just don't be it. Don't be it, all right? No matter how much someone wants you to be it, don't do it. Just remain true to, just sometimes you got to suck it up, but sometimes you got to speak out. But just know what you're doing is right for you.
Love that. Thank you for tuning in today. You know my voice. Hopefully some of the stuff we talked about in there has helped you, or, you know, can make you feel you can relate, because in this industry, it can feel very lonely at times when you're going through stuff.
And I need to shout out you, because you are the most hardworking person I've ever met. And I know she's my best friend, but seriously, I've watched you grow for years, and from living with you to everything that I know that you've done. And no one honestly deserves this more than you. Like, you deserve everything and more. You are the hardest worker. You look amazing. You sound unreal live. If you haven't seen her live, please. It's just unreal. Go see her live, but stream her music, support unsigned artists, and support people who are trying to push their way into the world, because It's a tough industry.
It's a tough industry. I love you.
I love
Thank
you more.
Sales Bells.
You're so
Well,
good.
I affectionately call her Sales Bells. You can call her Salena Mastroianni. And make sure you go and follow her on socials. Please tell them your socials.
My socials are Salena Music. TikTok is Salena's World. And you can find me anywhere, basically, Salena Music.
Perfect. Thanks for joining.